And it is interesting coming off of last year where Ohtani did win the MVP as a DH only and make us rethink like, okay, you know what? If you are cool enough and good enough as a DH, you can win it. Yeah. Obviously, he stole 50 bases, and that certainly helped his case as well. Schwarber has, I think, 10. I think what's really difficult about Schwarber's case this year is a few things, because all the things we can't say enough good things about him. But Kyle Schwarber has been, 90% of this for the last 3 years. He has never received a vote higher than 7th. He has never finished in the top 10. He has never even come close to being in the conversation. Now, you could argue, well, hey, wait a minute, maybe we've been wrong the whole time and we should have been voted for Kyle Schwarber. And I recognize that this is probably, clearly his best season. So he has elevated his case. But that would be quite the leap for him to go from nowhere in the top 10 to the biggest challenger to Ohtani, especially when you still look at WAR. Trey Turner's top 3 in Fangraphs WAR in the National League, and there are other good candidates.
I think you are, he has taken a notable jump, right?
Sure. Yeah.
From a home run production standpoint. That's undeniable. I think that the narrative works in Schwarber's favor as well, because we're having relative down years from Harper. Real Muto's fallen off. Castellanos is not very good. The Phillies have needed Kyle Schwarber to be a game-changing force in order to still likely, it's 5 games, win the NL East, right? They have needed that to get to that. Not to say that the Dodgers haven't leaned on Shohei Ohtani. I'm clear. I understand that. But there is a number of home runs that Schwarber can get to where it's an uncomfortable conversation. Right now, I still think it's Ohtani. If you're voting, Kyle Schwarber is at 49 home runs. If he finishes with 60, right? If he finishes with 60 and Ohtani's at 52, I know that there's more that goes into it than that. It's going to be difficult. I do think Schwarber might get some votes if he finishes with 60 homers. So, 9 seasons ever with at least 60, right? Ever. 9 seasons ever. And most of those guys were the MVP. Roger Maris in 61, Barry Bonds in 2001, Aaron Judge in 2022. I don't know what in the world happened to Sammy Sosa in 1999 when he hit 60 home runs and finished 9th in the MVP voting.
Yeah. What happened was
everyone was doing that.
Well, what happened was he did it the year before, and it wasn't as cool. So, and he won the year before, right? So,
okay. So, but this is
to that point.
Silly.
To that point, though,
if Kyle Schwarber hits 74 home runs, he's the MVP. Okay,
sure,
let's just start there.
If he just keeps racking up 4 homer games and gets to 74, yes, I think.
My point is that if he gets to 74, he's the MVP. If he does not hit another home run the rest of the year, he's not the MVP. There is a number of home runs that he can, theoretically hit between now and the last game where you're that's the MVP. Jordan, is it that simple for you? Is it as simple as he gets to 65 and you're that's the MVP?
I guess there's a number. The problem, it is sort of similar to the conversation we were already having about Kyle Raleigh, which is how many more home runs does he have to hit than Aaron Judge to win if Judge's OPS is 100 points higher? And obviously Judge, I know he finally homered again recently, but he also went in a bit of a skid over 3 weeks where the OPS started to fall and he got hurt and whatever. But the point is it's okay, is it just about the number of home runs? To me, it shouldn't be. I understand, if you're talking about a historic total, I get that. The problem is that at this point, we're going to get 4 or 5 more starts of Ohtani. Right? So we're going to be looking at it's not like he's that far behind. Would it be shocking if Ohtani ends up with more home runs than Schwarber? Also no. But in the scenario where Schwarber has 10 more and Ohtani is just getting blasted and giving up homers and only going 3-4 innings, that would be honestly, Ohtani has to be bad on the mound as far as I'm concerned. He has to be almost making it harder for the Dodgers to win games.
He has to be a neutral value on the mound.
Yeah, or he's not going deep into games, and so they're taxing the bullpen, and they're having to, it would have to be. It's still amazing that he's doing it, and it's not taking that away from him. But that's what's going to have to happen, because otherwise, it's just I just don't see how it's possible. Now that said,
do you think Schwarber
Schwarber finishing second because of the context that I just gave, which is that he's never finished in the top 10, would be amazing. And I think maybe ends up being deserved. I think that is going to be interesting when we compare him to a teammate like Turner, PCA if he heats back up, right? Lindor is going to have another 30-30 season as an awesome shortstop. Like, there are going to be other good candidates, but right now there does seem to be enough of a gap that like people want to vote. People want to push for Schwarber, and I totally get
that. Just Juan Soto, also pretty good. Worth a mention.
Yeah, but he's
does
decent.
Schwarber get a first place vote?
I don't think it's as likely as Cal Raleigh getting a first place vote at this point.
I think, and I don't know if you've been meaning to do this.
Yeah.
I think you've been drastically underrating Cal Raleigh's odds of winning MVP.
Oh, well, no, at this point, I know Cal Raleigh is now like firmly in coin flip territory. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying like you think it's more likely that Cal Raleigh gets a first place vote. Like I think Cal Raleigh could nap for a month.
Okay,
and he'd get a first place vote.
Okay, fine. Okay, so then move Cal Raleigh aside. Do I think Kyle Schwarber will get a first place vote? At this point, no. I think there's a path there. At this point, no. Unless we are already at the point where people are bored by Ohtani, which I guess is possible. It's going to depend on who those 30 MVP voters are. I guess that's possible. I don't think so. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. That said, I think the last thing we say about Schwarber before we take a break is, man, I mean, we've already hinted at his free agency coming up and what it's going to cost, and if the Phillies are going to be able to get an extension done. Everything he said is, of course, he'd love to stay there. They've said John Middleton's been like, we are going to do everything we can to keep him there, and I believe that's all true. That said, man, price of the brick going up. And I don't know where this is going to get to. I don't know what this is going to look at. And if you're Schwarber, it's like, listen, he might love Philadelphia, but why would he do them any favors? He is playing himself into more and more money by the week, and he's going to earn it.
So I talked to him about this when they were in D.C. last week. I was like, how are you wrangling with a walk here? Really, for the first time. Like, I know he had... I know he had that. I know he was not tendered, and then he's with the Red Sox, and then Nats and Red Sox, and whatever. This is a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, it was the most like Kyle Schwarber answer ever. And he's like, if I was thinking about my free agency all season, every time I hit a home run or did something good, that's a disservice to the team I'm on right now. And so he's like, I'm just not thinking about it. Like, what is the point of thinking about this thing that I cannot control until it happens? And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why we haven't really heard of any extension buzz, right? I think he wants to not like, besides that, yes, hitting the open market will make him more money, almost certainly. Like, I think he wants to focus on this. It is one of the more fascinating free agent cases that we've seen.
Yeah.
And we've been chatting like who gets more money, him or Pete. And I think it's every week it's more definitive in my mind that even though Schwarber does not play defense and is 2 years older, I do think he ends up getting a bigger contract than Alonso.
I think that's accurate.